In life, one of the most powerful skills we can develop is the ability to recognize patterns, especially those that dictate our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. While some patterns can lead to growth and fulfillment, others can be subtly destructive, slowly eroding our potential and happiness over time. Among the most insidious of these is the pattern of self-destruction. It's a mindset that quietly undermines our efforts, keeping us trapped in a cycle of frustration, stagnation, and ultimately, resignation. Self-destruction doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual, almost imperceptible process that often begins with a seemingly minor setback. You set a goal, whether it's climbing the corporate ladder, starting a business, or pursuing a creative passion. But somewhere along the way, you get stuck. You hit a wall where progress stalls, and no matter how hard you try, nothing seems to work anymore. This is the first phase, getting stuck. The getting stuck phase is a familiar place for many. It's the moment when the strategies that once worked so well suddenly lose their effectiveness. The momentum you once had comes to a grinding halt, leaving you puzzled and frustrated. What's even more perplexing is that the reasons for this halt are often unclear. You may feel like you're doing everything right, following the same steps that previously led to success, yet the results are no longer there. This can create a sense of confusion and helplessness, as if you're banging your head against an invisible wall. At this stage, many people react by doubling down on their efforts, working harder and longer in an attempt to push through the barrier. But more often than not, these efforts only lead to burnout, exacerbating the problem rather than solving it. The harder you push, the more stuck you feel, and the more stuck you feel, the more frustrated you become. Frustration is the natural next phase in this self-destructive pattern. It's the emotional response to being stuck, and it can manifest in various ways. For some, it's a slow simmering irritation that builds over time. For others, it's a sudden, explosive anger that lashes out at anything and everything. Regardless of how it presents, frustration is a toxic emotion that clouds your judgment and distorts your perception of reality. When you're frustrated, it's easy to start blaming external factors for your lack of progress. You might lash out at those around you, criticize circumstances beyond your control, or even rage against the universe itself for not cooperating with your plans. This externalization of blame, however, is a form of self-sabotage. It shifts your focus away from what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, and places it on things that are beyond your influence. The more you focus on external blame, the more powerless you feel, deepening your frustration. As frustration festers, it can escalate into anger. Anger is a powerful emotion, but it's also a destructive one. When left unchecked, it can drive people away, isolating you from the very support networks that could help you get unstuck. Anger also has a way of distorting your priorities. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to make decisions that feel satisfying in the short term, but are ultimately detrimental in the long run. You might burn bridges, quit projects prematurely, or abandon goals that you once cared deeply about, all in a bid to relieve the pressure that frustration and anger create. Experiencing prolonged frustration and anger, many people reach a point where they simply can't take it anymore. The fight inside them fizzles out, and they begin to settle for less than they originally wanted. Settling is a subtle form of surrender. It's the point where you stop striving for more and start accepting the status quo, even if it's not what you truly desire. Settling can take many forms. It might mean staying in a job that doesn't fulfill you because it's easier than taking the risk of pursuing something new. It might mean staying in a relationship that no longer brings you joy because the thought of being alone is too frightening. Or it might mean giving up on a dream because the path to achieving it seems too difficult or uncertain. Whatever form it takes, settling is a way of resigning yourself to a life of mediocrity. One of the most dangerous aspects of settling is that it's often accompanied by a sense of justification. When you settle, your mind starts to rationalize why it's okay to accept less than you deserve. You tell yourself that you're being realistic, that you're avoiding unnecessary risks, or that you're making the best of a bad situation. These justifications serve as a protective barrier, shielding you from the discomfort of acknowledging that you've given up on something important to you. The final phase in the self-destructive pattern is justifying. This is where your brain gets creative, coming up with all sorts of reasons why you can't have what you want. These justifications can be incredibly convincing, and they often sound like logical, rational arguments. You might tell yourself that the system is rigged, that other people have unfair advantages, or that you're simply not lucky enough. These justifications reinforce the brick wall that has formed around your potential, making it harder to break free. The danger of justifying lies in its subtlety. Unlike the other phases, which are more overt and easier to recognize, justifying often flies under the radar. It disguises itself as pragmatism or wisdom, making it easy to accept without question. But in reality, justifying is a form of self-deception. It allows you to avoid the uncomfortable truth that you've settled for less than you're capable of, and it keeps you trapped in a cycle of self-destruction. Breaking free from the mindset of self-destruction is not an easy task, but it is possible. The first and most crucial step is recognizing the pattern for what it is, a destructive cycle that you have the power to change. Awareness is the key to breaking any pattern. Once you become aware of the cycle, you can begin to take steps to disrupt it and create a new, more positive pattern. Understanding that getting stuck is a normal part of any journey is essential. Everyone experiences periods where progress slows or stalls, but it's how you respond to these moments that determines your ultimate success. Instead of allowing frustration to take over, use it as a signal that something needs to change. This might mean reassessing your goals, trying a new approach, or seeking help from someone who has been through a similar experience. Seeking help is one of the most effective ways to break free from the self-destructive cycle, whether it's a mentor, a coach, or a trusted friend. Having someone to guide you through difficult times can help you see things from a different perspective and find new solutions. A fresh perspective can be invaluable when you're stuck in a rut, as it can help you identify blind spots and discover opportunities that you might have overlooked. Daring to engage in new self-learning is another critical step. Learning new skills or gaining new knowledge can open up possibilities you never considered before. It creates new connections in your brain, allowing you to see your situation in a new light. This can be as simple as reading a book on a topic you're interested in, taking an online course, or even just having a conversation with someone who has a different viewpoint. The key is to keep your mind open and curious, always looking for new ways to grow. Your environment also plays a significant role in either perpetuating or breaking the cycle of self-destruction. If you're surrounded by people who reinforce your negative beliefs, it's much harder to change. On the other hand, being around positive, supportive people can help you stay motivated and focused on your goals. Sometimes, this means making difficult decisions about who you spend your time with. It may require distancing yourself from those who hold you back and seeking out new connections that inspire and uplift you. One of the most challenging aspects of breaking free from self-destruction is being honest with yourself. It's easy to lie to yourself, to make excuses for why things aren't working out, but these lies only serve to keep you stuck. Taking personal responsibility for your life is crucial. This means acknowledging where you've gone wrong, but also recognizing that you have the power to make different choices going forward. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about empowering yourself to take control of your life. Taking personal responsibility means accepting that while you may not be able to control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. It means recognizing that your current situation is the result of your past choices, and that your future is shaped by the choices you make today. This can be a difficult pill to swallow, especially if you've been blaming external factors for your problems. But it's also incredibly liberating because it means that you have the power to change your life. Never settling is the final and perhaps most important piece of the puzzle. It's easy to settle for second best, especially when things get tough. But settling is the enemy of progress. It's a way of giving up on your dreams without even realizing it. To avoid this, you must keep pushing forward, even when it's difficult. Remember that setbacks are a normal part of any journey, and they don't have to define you. Every time you get knocked down, get back up, learn from the experience, and keep moving forward. The importance of perseverance cannot be overstated. Perseverance is the antidote to the self-destructive mindset. It's the quality that allows you to keep going even when the odds are stacked against you, even when progress is slow, and even when it feels like the world is conspiring against you.